Your prospect just told you they're also talking to your 3 biggest competitors. Game over, right? Wrong. In the next video, I'll show you exactly how to turn competitive pressure into your greatest advantage. Because here's the truth. If you're losing to competitors, it's not because they're better. It's because you are playing their game. I'm Sultan Simlali from Value Coach, and I've spent 20 plus years in the B2B sales trenches. I've won deals against competitors with bigger names, deeper pockets, better features, and I've lost deals I should have won because I made the mistakes I'm about to help you avoid. Competition is not something to fear, it's something to embrace. It sharpens your approach and forces you to be better. Today I'm going to give you a 4-step framework that will transform how you handle competitive deals. Let's face reality, the B2B sales landscape in 2025 is more competitive than ever. According to Gartner, the average B2B buyer now seriously evaluates 5-6 vendors before making a purchase decision, up from just 2-3 vendors a couple of years ago. So your prospects have more information, they have more options, and they have more power than ever before. They're researching your competitors before you even know they exist. By the time you get that first meeting, they've already formed opinions about how you stack up. So let me tell you about Mark, a sales leader at a mid-sized SaaS company. His team was losing 60% of their competitive deals, and despite having a product that was way better in many ways. The product was not the problem, it was how they were approaching competitive selling. They were playing defense instead of offense. Know your enemy. Sun Tzu in The Art of War said best, if you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles. Most salespeople have a surface level understanding of their competition. They know the basic feature differences and maybe a few talking points, but that's not enough. You need to be building battle cards for the competition that include their ideal customer profile and how it differs from yours, their pricing structure and how they discount their product, their sales process, the objections they face, their strengths and weaknesses from the customer's perspective, and some recent product updates or company news. But here's where most people miss the opportunity. You need to understand not just what your competitor offers, but how they sell. So what you can do, you can call their sales line, request a demo, sign up for their free trial. You can read their case study, join their webinar, follow their sales leaders on LinkedIn. Mark's team created a competitor immersion day, where they experienced their top 3 competitors' sales process firsthand. The insights they were gaining were invaluable. They discovered that the main competitors always led with an ROI calculator that made bold promises. So Mark's team used that to address those claims and set more realistic expectations when they spoke to a customer. 2. Reframe the competition. The worst thing you can do in a competitive situation is play the comparison game on their terms. Feature by feature comparison are a race to the bottom. Instead, you need to reframe the conversation around the criteria that favor your solution. And this starts with asking questions your competitors don't ask. For example, if your solution excels at scalability but lacks some bells and whistles, don't let the conversation center on features. Ask questions like, how do you see your needs evolving over the next 2 to 3 years? Or what happened the last time you tried to scale a solution like this? Beyond the immediate needs, what would make this implementation a long-term success? And then what you need to do is create your own evaluation criteria. Don't accept the prospect's existing checklist. It was probably influenced by your competitors. Say something like, based on what you've shared about your goals, there are 3 critical factors you should consider when evaluating a solution like ours. And then you put a criteria that play to your strength. When Mark's team started reframing conversations around implementation time and user adoption, where they were very strong, they increased their competitive win rate. 3. Leverage social proof strategically. In B2B sales, nothing is more powerful than hearing from someone who's already taken the leap of faith you're asking your prospect to take. But generic testimonials won't cut it. You need social proof that directly address competitive concerns. Create a matrix of customer stories that specifically highlight wins against each of your main competitors. When a prospect mentions that they're considering competitor X, you should immediately have a relevant case study where a customer chose you over that specific competitor. Even better, offer to connect them with a reference who switched from that competitor to you. Nothing is more powerful than hearing, "We were using competitor X for 2 years before switching to your company, and here's why we made the change." What Mark's team did, they created a switcher database of customers who had migrated from competitors. For each major competitors, they had at least 3 reference customers willing to share how they switch vendors. That single tactic helped to improve their competitive win rate as well. 4. Proactive objection handling. The worst time to handle a competitive objection is after your prospect brings it up. By then, it's already taken root in their mind. Instead, address potential objections before they arise. This shows confidence and transparency. Start by creating a list of the top 3 competitive claims made against your solution. Then proactively address them in your presentations. And you could say something like, "Clients often ask me about how we compare to competitor X in terms of integration capabilities. And while they offer 50 out of the box, for example, clients ask me how we compare to competitor X in terms of integration. And while they offer 50 out of the box integration compared to our 35, our open API allows for custom integration that 76% of our enterprise clients have leveraged to create more tailored workflow." When you do that, it shows you have nothing to hide, it demonstrates you understand the market, and it gives you control over the narrative. The most powerful competitive tool in your arsenal is the "only we can" statement. These are 3-5 unique capabilities or approaches that only your solution provides. And you don't need generic claims like best customer service, most innovative. They're really specific defensible statements that competitors cannot claim, such as, "We are the only solution that offers real-time compliance updates across all 50 states without requiring manual updates." And so Mark's team identified 5 "only we can" statements and trained everyone to weave them naturally into sales conversation. Using that, they saw competitive win rate climb as well. Common mistakes. Now, let me tell you about the 3 deadly sins of competitive selling. Nothing makes you look smaller than speaking negatively about your competition. It signals insecurity and lack of professionalism, even though it can be attractive to do that. I once watched a top performer lose a $1.2 million deal because he couldn't resist taking a jab at a competitor's recent security breach. The prospect had actually been impressed with how transparently that competitor had handled the situation. And so that comment backfired greatly. Instead, be respectful. Try, "They're a solid company that serves many clients well. Why we tend to differentiate is." 2. Reactive price cutting. When you slash prices at the first mention of competition, you're telling the prospect 2 things. Your price was inflated, and you don't believe your solution offers superior value. I have seen a lot of deals where the sales rep offer a 30% discount without even understanding if price is a factor. This destroys margins, and it destroys respect at the same time. Instead, reinforce the value before discussing price adjustment. If you do need to offer pricing concessions, tie them to volume, timing, terms, but never to just win against a competitor. 3. Feature obsession. Most salespeople respond to competitive pressure by vomiting features. They drown prospects in specifications and capabilities, hoping that something will stick. This spray and pray approach overwhelms prospect, and it kills your offering, because features can be copied, but your approach cannot. Focus on the outcomes you deliver, and how your approach is different. So, where do we go from here? Here is a competitive selling action plan for the next 7 days. Today you will identify your top 3 competitors and start building detailed battle cards. Set up alerts for the company news and product updates. Tomorrow, take a look at your last 5 competitive losses. Look for patterns in which a competition won and why. That's your competitive blind spot. In day 3, you will look at 3 only we can statements that are specific, meaningful, and defensible. Practice weaving them naturally in your sales conversation. On day 4, you will create a list of questions that shift the conversation to your strength. Test them with a colleague to ensure that they feel natural and not manipulative. On day 5, you will identify 3 customers who chose you over each major competitor. Reach out to request their permission to serve as specific competitive reference. Day 6, role play. Role play competitive scenarios with your team. Practice handling tough competitive questions without disparaging competitors. And on day 7, review your sales material to ensure they highlight your unique strength rather than just listing features. This is not a one-time exercise. Most successful sales professionals make competitive intelligence an ongoing practice because it shows that you know the market and you know what is happening. Competition is not something to fear. It's something you need to leverage. When a prospect tells you they're looking at competitors, that's not a bad news. It's an opportunity to demonstrate your confidence, knowledge, and unique value. The 4-step framework we covered today will transform how you approach competitive deals. First, know your enemy deeply and completely. 2, reframe the conversation around your strength. 3, leverage social proof strategically. And 4, handle objections proactively. The difference between an average salesperson and a top performer is that top performer never face competition. They know how to turn competitive pressure into competitive advantage. Now get there and win those competitive deals. Not by playing their games, but by changing the game entirely. If you found this valuable, hit that subscribe button for more no-nonsense sales strategies and drop a comment below with your biggest competitive selling challenge. I read every comment and use them to plan future videos. Until next time, remember in sales, it's not about having no competition. It's about making them irrelevant. Check out the next video here or there. See you around. Bye-bye.